Alrighty, so today we're going to go ahead and go over Wildcat Sheet 1. So number 1 says Hallie has 180 cookies to sell at the school bake sale. She sold 4 different types of cookies. The breakdown of her cookie sales is shown below. 1/5 were snickerdoodle, 1/3 were chocolate chip, 3/10 are sugar, and the rest are M&Ms. So the first thing I need to do is figure out how many of those cookies were chocolate chips, snickerdoodle, all those things. So I'm going to grab a calculator. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and multiply the fraction times our total. So to figure out 1/5 of 180, I'm going to do 180 times 1/5. So 180 times 1/5. So when we enter fractions in the calculator, you want to put it in parentheses. And that gets me 36 cookies. So then at 180 times 1/3, and that would be 60 cookies. And then 180 times 3/10. Well, 180 times 3 divided by 10 is 54. So that's how much the other cookies were. And if I have a total of 180 cookies, I could simply add up 36 plus 60 plus 54. So that's the total I've got so far. And then do 180 minus 150, which would get me 30 cookies. So 30 cookies were M&M. All right, Annie compared the number of fluid ounces per bottle of sunscreen to the cost of 4 different brands of sunscreen. The information she gathered is shown in the table. Based on the data, which brand of sunscreen has the greatest cost per fluid ounce? So to figure out the greatest cost per fluid ounce, I'm going to just go ahead and divide the cost by the number of ounces. So for W, we'd be doing 12 divided by 20, which is 60 cents an ounce. Okay, we're basically finding unit rate here. For X, we do $11.25 divided by 15, which would be 75 cents per ounce. Then we have 650 divided by 10. That's 65 cents an ounce. And then you have 250 divided by 5, which was 50 cents an ounce. So the greatest cost per ounce is over here at 75 cents. So X has the greatest cost per ounce. All right, number 3 says our recipe says to use 3 cups of flour to make 48 cookies. What is the constant of proportionality as it relates to the number of cookies made? Y to the number of cups of flour used, X. Okay, constant of proportionality, which you learned in 7th grade, is K, and K is always Y over X. Well, Y is the cookies, and cups of flour is X. So we're comparing cookies to the cups. Well, it was 48 cookies for 3 cups. I can simplify that by dividing both of these by 3. 48 divided by 3 is 16. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I don't have to write the 1, which is just 3. Number 4, it says which values from the set satisfy the following inequality. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve the inequality, and then I could figure out which value satisfies. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 3 from each side. That goes away. I'm left with negative 1/2 X is greater than or equal to 2. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal because I'm multiplying by a fraction here. So I'm going to multiply by negative 2 over 1. That will cancel, but I'm multiplying by negative 2 over 1 here. And I get X is greater than or equal. Oh, almost made a mistake here. Some of you may have caught that. When you have inequalities, and you multiply or divide by a negative number, I have to flip the sign. So this is not going to be greater than or equal to anymore. Instead, X is going to be less than or equal to negative 4. Well, if I were to put that on a number line, we have negative 4, I have negative 3, negative 5. Greater than or less than or equal to is a closed circle, and then my arrow would go to the left. So any number that would fall in that graph would make sense. So negative 6 is less than negative 4, so that would work. Negative 4, it's part of the or equal to, so negative 4 would work. But if I look here, negative 3 is greater than negative 4, so all of these other numbers would not be possible. Number 5, a music club has 15 members. Each member pays monthly dues of $14.60. On the first day of the month, 8 members paid their dues. The remaining members paid their dues on the second day of the month. How much money was collected on the second day of the month? Okay, well, if I have a total of 15 members and 8 already paid, I have 7 members who needed to pay, so then I would be doing $14.60 times 7. And you have a calculator, so we can do $14.60 times 7. They would have paid $102.20. Okay. Number 6, the area of a square wall is 182 square feet. Determine the side length of the wall. So when we are talking about walls here, 182 is the area, and I'm looking for the side length. Well, when you're given the area of the square, to find the side length, you're going to simply do the square root. So in this case, I'm going to do the square root of 182. So second x squared, 182. So that's 13.490, and it said to round to the hundredths, so 0 would leave that the same. So 13.49. On the back, okay. Number 7, the manager of a coffee shop recorded the number of customers who put vanilla creamer or chocolate creamer in their coffee during 1 hour and classified them by age. The results are shown in the table. What percentage of these customers put chocolate creamer during their coffee hour? Okay, so whenever you see the word percentage, we're thinking of a proportion. So I'm going to set up something over 100. And percents always have to do with a total. So I'm going to need to find the total for this table. Well, 6 like vanilla and 14 shows chocolate. So that would have been 20 in total. So when I set up my proportion, I want the total number of people, which was 20. Okay, that's compared to the 100. And then I'm talking about chocolate, so I need the total number of people for chocolate, which was 14. You will always start on the side that has 2 numbers. So to go from 20 to 100, I would multiply by 5. So I need to multiply by 5 here, and that would get me 70% of people liked chocolate. On this side, which situation can be represented by the inequality? Very first thing you need to make sure you do is you read from the side starting with the variable. So the larger side is with k, so this is really going to be greater than or equal to. Okay, so this is 12k plus 29 is greater than or equal to 120. Well, when I have a number next to the variable, that means to multiply. So I need to make sure that whatever choice I pick has 12 multiplied by k. So Felicia has 12 buttons in her collection. She will collect 29 new buttons every year. Every is a keyword. Okay, every means multiply. Well, every is with the 29 here. So is 29 the number being multiplied by the variable? No, 12 is, so A doesn't make sense. Felicia has 29 buttons in her collection. She will collect 12 new buttons every year. Okay, every here is with the 12. That's what I want. And it says Felicia collects buttons for k years. For what values of k will Felicia have at least 120 buttons? Well, at least goes with greater than or equal to, which is what our situation is here. So B looks like a great choice. I'm going to keep going. Felicia has 29 buttons in her collection. She collects 12 every year. So 12 is multiplied again. But this one says at most, which is less than or equal to, so C can't be right. And then D says every with 29, so it's 29 is multiplying. That's not right either. B is our best choice. All right, number 9, an online game increases the number of users at a rate of 500 users each day. Which graph best represents the relationship between Y, the number of users, and X, the number of days? Okay, so down here, this is 500 days for one user. Nope, it was 500 users for 1 day, so A doesn't make sense. C, we only get to 500 users after 4 days, but it said each day, so C doesn't work. Here, it's 10 days for 500 users. Here, it's 2 days for 1,000. Well, if 500 on the first day, that's day 1, that would be 1,000 on day 2, so D makes sense. Sorry, see that. All right, number 10, we're going to go ahead and solve the inequality. So the first thing we're going to do is add 8 to both sides. So I'm left with 3x is greater than 15. Then we divide by 3. I'm not dividing by a negative, so our sign stays the same. So x is greater than 5. Now, when I expect you to make a number line, we're going to put the number in the middle, one number above, which would be 6, one number below. It's greater than, so it's an open circle, and the arrow points to the right. All right, for algebra, I'm just going to go ahead and do the ones that were different. So number 5 says determine whether the relation is a function, then state the domain and range. Okay, so the function depends on the x. Are the x values repeated? No, so this is a function. Okay, the domain, I'm just going to list the x values, which in this case we have -1, 1, 3, 5. Okay, the range, we just list the y values, so it's -11, 1, 13, and 25. Number 6 says determine what function family the graph belongs to, then state the domain, range, x, and y intercepts. Okay, so it is a straight line, so this is a linear function. The domain, well, that's in the x. If I push this graph out, it will go on forever for the x. If I push to the right, it'll go on forever, so the domain is all reals. The range, same thing. If I push up forever, it'll go on forever. If I push down forever, it'll keep going, so this is also all reals. The x-intercept is where we touch the x-axis, and that happens over here at -4, 0. And the y-intercept is where we touch the y-axis at 0, -3. Please remember that these are ordered pairs and need to be written as ordered pairs. Okay, the only one that was different on the back was this number 9 here. It says a bookstore offered mystery bags, each containing 12 books. The quantity of each type of book was the same in each bag. A shopper bought 3 mystery bags and found that 6 books were spy novels. Based on this information, what prediction can be made about the shopper buying mystery bags in the future? Okay, so there's 12 books in each bag. So if I bought 3 bags, that's 36 books total. So 6 out of the 36 were spy novels, so that's 1/6. So there will be 4 more spy novels in 8 bags than in 6 bags. Well, 8 bags, that would be 8 times 12, which is 96. 1/6, 1/6 of 96, if I put that in my calculator, I'm going to be multiplying. So parentheses 1 divided by 6 times 96. That is 16 books are spy novels in 8 bags. Then for 6 bags, I'd be doing 6 times 12, which is 72. Okay. And then 1/6 times 72 is 12. Well, 16 is 4 more than 12. So there's 4 more spy novels in 8 bags than 6.